Well, hello there, my fellow veterans. How you doing this evening? This is Tim Hauser, the Gulf War Advocate, and this is Veterans Central. So let's go ahead and just get things started, shall we? All right. You've heard me talk about it, but some of you have emailed me and says, "Hey, we don't know what you're talking about." So tonight, this entire show is going to be about the Compact Act. Now, the Compact Act came out. It was started by the VA on January 17th of 2023. So it's coming up on its 1 year anniversary. And what it is a program for any veteran, regardless if they're in the VA system or not. If they feel suicidal, they can go to any emergency room in this country and get medical care. So we're going to go over this. So nobody's confused. So hopefully even family members learn what this is going to be about. So what is the Compact Act? We kind of just went over that a second ago. But it's designed to, one, help eliminate the stigma of mental health. Two, to get veterans to actually get help, even if they're not in the VA system, even if you don't want nothing to do with the VA system, this program can help you. All right. Now, the VA does want you to call 911 or visit the nearest emergency room to expedite care if you're feeling suicidal. Now, you can go to any VA community out clinic. However, those clinics are only open Monday through Friday during normal business hours. So your best bet is to go to your local or the closest ER. That emergency room should already know what to do. Now, if you do go to an emergency room, make sure you tell them that you're a veteran and that you're having suicidal thoughts. Because this program will cover the cost of treatment, including transportation. So if you call 911 and they transport you by ambulance, it's paid for. All right. Your treatment will be paid for inpatient or crisis residential care for up to 30 days, or outpatient care, and outpatient care for up to 90 days will be paid for by the VA. Now, we'll get to how you get the VA to pay for this here in a little bit. But here's where people are starting to get a little confused. And the number one question that they ask is, who is eligible? So here we go. Those who were discharged or released from active duty after more than 24 months of active service under conditions other than dishonorable. So I just took the SAVE course through the VA. And what this means is if you have a dishonorable discharge, you're the only veteran that is not eligible for this program. Less than honorable is. So almost every veteran is covered as long as you've served at least 2 years active duty. Okay. And former members of the armed forces, including reserve service members who served more than 100 days under a combat exclusion or in support of a contingency operation, either directly or by operating an unmanned aerial vehicle, drone, come on, from another location, who were discharged under conditions other than dishonorable. So even reserve members are eligible for this program. Pretty sure that includes you Guard members too. All right. I'll follow up on that, but I do believe Guard members, if you were meet those requirements that were there for the reserves, I do believe you're eligible as well. Now, also former members of the armed forces who were the victim of a physical assault or a sexual nature, a battery of a sexual nature, or sexual harassment while serving in armed forces. Folks, that does not just include women. All right? So come on, guys. You know who I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure someone out there other than a female has been sexually harassed while in the military as well. Now, some people stated, "Hey, I know I got an honorable discharge, so I got to be covered under this," which is, yeah, you are. So they say, "But how does it work? What do you have to do to get this program?" Now, it's easy, folks. First, you either call 911 or you go to your nearest emergency room. Once you're at the emergency room, you notify the staff that you're a veteran and that you're having suicidal thoughts. So they will take you into the back and they will start providing treatment. It's that simple. Now, their insurance representatives or whatever, the intake personnel, they should already know about this program. They should be able to help you get all this treatment paid for through the VA. But if you do receive a bill for emergency, actually, I think we've skipped one slide, but that's all right. But if you do receive a bill, all you have to do is contact a VA medical facility, probably the one that you go to all the time if you're in the VA. If you're not in the VA, go to the closest one. And get in contact with the VA patient advocate. And tell them that you need a clinical review on the treatment that you received. And you can also contact, I think it's a 1-800 number that'll be on the bills as well to initiate this process. I will have a number for you at the end of these slides. Now, yeah, I did a poor job on this slide. I do apologize, folks. But now, veterans who received combat-related care at a community emergency department should submit a signed written request for reimbursement to their local VA medical facility, community care office, along with an after visit summary. That summary is what's going to show that you actually did receive treatment and that the VA is going to be responsible for that. Now, this is the part that some people don't realize. And some folks, you need to realize that somebody needs to contact the VA within 72 hours of you starting to receive treatment. It could be the hospital that you went to, it could be a family member. If you're married, most likely your spouse. And they need to call this 844 number, 844-724-7842, and let them know that you are in the hospital receiving care for suicidal thoughts. Now, here's the slide that I did accidentally skip over. And this is the most important part, people. Regardless of VA enrollment status, if you meet all the other criteria for eligibility, you're eligible even if you're not in the VA system. All right. So please remember, even if you are not in the VA system, the VA will handle paying these bills for your treatment. Now, one thing that some people don't get is there's no shame in saying, hey, I need help. And also, people, if you think you know a veteran that might be thinking about suicide, about killing themselves, come straight out and ask. Say, are you okay? Are you thinking about killing yourself? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you the truth. And they're going to tell you yes. Then you can tell them about this program. Or they can go to a vet center. Vet centers are popping up all over the country. They have a little bit longer hours than normal VA clinics. And they are staffed by licensed clinical therapists. Look, veteran suicide is on the rise again. And a lot of states are not wanting to report veteran suicide. They don't want to go. I don't know what it is. I'm still looking in. I still cannot get a straight answer from any elected officials here in the state of Ohio about the rumor that they're no longer going to report veteran suicide. Some states are reporting veteran suicide now as accidental deaths. By doing this, what the hell is it going to help? How's it going to help? By saying, oh, he's a veteran, it was just accidental death. Oh, we're not going to separate veteran suicides from other suicides. We're going to bunch them all together. The average that I was given at first of veteran suicide, I was told was 1.5 to 2 times greater than the national average. Now you figure veterans are about 1% of the total population in this country. And to be 2 times greater than the national average in suicide, that's a huge amount. But I was corrected. while giving a speech on Veterans Day. The individual worked for the VA. And she said, Tim, I'm sorry to correct you, but that number's low. We now know it's at 10%. 10% greater than the national average. There's all kinds of many reasons why veterans are taking their own lives. One of them is the stress of separation, the anxiety of separating from the military. The longer you're in the military, the harder it is to adjust, they say. I'll admit I had a hard time. I was only in for 10 years. And I had a hard time separating. And I'm also one of the dumbasses that took the Clinton administration early out bonus. I might cover about that bonus next week and how it affects VA claims. But from what I can gather, the Air Force has come up with a program. Yeah, and I gotta give my props out. The Air Force, I guess, has a program now for service members that are separating. And I guess they can kind of go over how to do a resume and stuff like that, and how to get into the VA. Supposedly the Army is kind of doing the same program. From what I hear, the Navy and the Marines have dropped the ball on this. They just shove you out. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know. And for those of you who are watching too, hey, chat's open. So if you got questions or any comments, go ahead. Put them in there and we'll get to it. But if I'm wrong about the Navy and the Marines, and they do have a program for members separating, let me know. But from what I understand, they've dropped the ball. Army's trying. Air Force, I guess, is doing a pretty good job. I'm not saying that because I'm prior Air Force. I'm saying that because I guess it's true. You know, that's what I've been told. Now, if you're having a hard time, don't keep it in anymore. Let somebody know. Like I said, there is no shame in getting help if you need it. That's why there's all kinds of nonprofits out there, all kinds of organizations offering help, saying, hey, if you need help, come let us know. But in order to get that help, it takes you, the veteran or the family member, to say, hey, we're struggling here. We need some assistance. And it's all confidential. Nobody needs to know. But this new Compact Act, which it turns one here January 17th, is one of the greatest new programs by the VA that I've ever seen. They do not have statistics on it yet. They told me it'll probably be around April, May, June timeframe when I'll be able to get some statistics on how this program's working, because it's not even a year old yet. But let me go ahead and bring this up. This slide here. I know everybody's heard the phrase, it takes a village. Well, it's going to take a village to help bring down the numbers for veteran suicide. It's going to take neighbors. It's going to take the people you go to church with, or people you go and have a beer with after work. It's going to take your fellow employees. It's going to take your spouse and your children. Everybody's going to need to get involved. Now, I'm not just speaking out of my ass here, folks. I got some experience with this. I had brother Dennis 23 years ago this past Christmas Eve decided to take his own life. Vietnam and Gulf War veteran, retired Air Force Master Sergeant. Wish he had a program like this when he was in, when he decided he was going to take his own life. I wish there were organizations out there teaching us what warning signs are, teaching us how to go about talking to our veterans about this. Like I said, it's going to take a village. It's going to take some doing, because the village is going to have to be strong and say, hey, do you feel like you're going to kill yourself? Do you feel like killing yourself? That's what it's going to take. Now, I wish I had said that to my brother. I wish I had asked him that. Chances are he'd be here today. Probably be the co-host of this podcast. But he was one of those who thought getting help for mental health issues was taboo. So, like I said, this program started on January 17th, 2023. It's not even a year old yet. If you are a veteran and you feel like you're going to kill yourself, please go to any medical facility or emergency room. Any emergency room in this country, and the VA will pay the bill. The only veterans not covered under this are those that are dishonorably discharged. That's it. Guard, reserve, if you served for so long in a deployment or operated drones, you're eligible as well. But folks, we need to end the stigma that mental health is bad. That if somebody needs mental health care, that they're crazy, that they're loony. They're not. I'm living proof. Well, some people think I'm nuts, but after what happened to my brother, and I had my own demons I was dealing with as well, that woke my ass up, and that's what got me going to therapy. So I'm begging you. If you won't do it for yourself, do it for your family. Yeah, I know I said that about the PACT Act. If you don't want to file a claim under the PACT Act for yourself, do it for your family. Same goes with getting mental health care, man. So, you know, This, I guess, is going to be the official start of our official program at Veterans Assurance Network called Are You Okay? I've already been speaking at several different events on veteran suicide. This is now going to be included into my talks. If for some reason the emergency room that you go to refuses you, don't get upset. Just say, hey, look, this is a federal law. And they'll go ahead and take care of you. But I guarantee you, they're not going to say that to you. They're not going to turn you away. They're going to help you. But I do want to put that one slide up one more time here. If I can find it. Oh no. Looks like it disappeared. It sure did. Not a problem. I can bring it back up again here. There we go. Let me try this. No, it's not coming up, so I'll just read it off of this here. Oh, there it is. Duh. 844-724-7842. Matter of fact, this number isn't just for the Compact Act. Let's say you're on vacation, you get hurt, and you need to go to the emergency room. The closest emergency room is a community hospital. You can call this number and say, hey, look, I had to go to this emergency room for care. I broke my leg or I broke my arm while on vacation. I had to go to the ER. This is the number you call. It's the same number for the Compact Act. And you don't have to be the one to call the VA to let them know that you're in the hospital. A family member can do it. The hospital should do it. But just in case they don't, 844-724-7842. Hey, we got someone who's talking. That's right, Becky Lee. Or a heart attack, any emergency care, that's the number you call. If it's not a VA facility, then that gets the VA on the ball and says, hey, we got you covered. We'll make sure that bill's paid for. I had to use it once. It worked. Thanks for that comment, Becky. Becky's one of our greatest viewers here. She watches almost every episode. So I appreciate you, Becky. And folks, we're not gonna carry on too much longer here, but I don't know what else I can say. The stigma of mental health needs to go away. I don't know the remedy for that stigma, but somehow we got to figure it out, folks. All of us. Like I said, it takes a village. It's going to take a village to get rid of that stigma. Look, I get mental health care. I'll admit it. It helps me out a lot. I know it'll help you folks. So again, let me get rid of that slide and bring up another one here real quick. Yeah, let's do this one here. Let's end veteran suicide together. Now, one thing I'm working on is I had worked with several congressmen and senators from the state of Ohio, and we wrote a resolution for an official Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day in the month of September. Now, all the congressmen in Ohio, except for 2, signed on as co-sponsors. 1 senator in the state of Ohio wrote it and had several sponsors from other states to present it in the Senate. Now, the House cannot vote on that type of resolution. So they passed that information on to the White House. Now, the Senate, Senator Sherrod Brown presented it on the floor on September 30th, and it passed by unanimous consent that September 30th, 2023 was National Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day. Fortunately, the resolution was only good for that year. So I'm working on trying to get it permanent. So if you want to help with this, let me do this. Email me at timhauser@veteransinsurance.org. For those of you who are going to be listening on just to the audio, that will be in the description as well. And so we'll link to the page at va.gov for the Compact Act. That'll be in the description as well. Now, the crisis line, the people at the VA at their headquarters in DC say that the new number has been working a lot better than they thought it would at first. They're able to keep veterans on the line longer. They're able to get more care to the veterans sooner. They're able to make sure that a veteran gets to a licensed therapist online as soon as they call. This is a huge improvement from the old 1-800 number. So, folks, I don't know what to tell you. The VA is making changes for the better. And the new 988 number and the Compact Act are proof that they do care about us, and they're trying to make our hospitals, our medical system better. But it can't keep making these improvements unless we start utilizing these programs, start utilizing our facilities. It seems like every visit I go to now, every doctor's appointment, every ER visit, I get a survey. So I'm filling those out now, and I'm sending them in. And that's how we're going to make the VA is our medical system, our medical facilities, our healthcare. That's how we're going to make improvements, folks. If things aren't going the way they're supposed to at the VA, you got patient advocates that you can go to, or you can fill out these surveys. That's how changes are going to be made. That's how we got the Compact Act. It's through surveys. So, before I bore you all, I'm going to go ahead and say good night to you. Hope everybody had an awesome New Year's. My wife and I stayed home and just chilled. We needed that. We needed a night of just chilling. When you got a 13-year-old, man, you're always on the run. Because either you're dodging teenage attitudes or they got somewhere they have to go and they can't drive yet. So you got to take them. But remember the crisis line 988, press 1. You are guaranteed to get a licensed therapist on the line right away. Also, check into these vet centers that are popping up all over the country. You don't need an appointment. You can just walk in and say, hey, I need to talk. And the good thing about these vet centers too is your family members, your spouse and children can go to them too and say, hey, I'm having a hard time dealing with my spouse's PTSD, or the kids can say, hey, mom or dad's PTSD is getting a little out of control. I don't know what to do. They can get in there and get counseling as well. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. I just want to since we are into New Year, I want to let everybody know who's watching. Here we go. Thank you, Becky. That's right. Patient satisfaction surveys. That's what they are. And yes, they are good. You tell the truth on them, folks. You don't even have to put your name on them. The return postage on them is free. It's already paid for. Stick it in the mail. You're done. So, hope everyone had an awesome New Year's. You're going to get more shows like this coming up that's going to explain. Matter of fact, January 31st, we're going to have my good friend David Root, who's the Ohio legislation representative for the VFW, or the VFW's Ohio legislation representative. There we go. And we're going to talk about pending legislation in the state of Ohio for veterans. If you know of somebody that's either with the VFW, Legion, or AMVETS that does this in your state, tell them to get in contact with me. We'll get them on the show. And we'll talk about legislation pending in that state. We'll have an episode coming up in February about pending legislation, federal, national legislation. So that'll be coming up in February. All right, everyone. Hey, Becky, thank you so much for participating today. You're awesome, girl. All right. See y'all next week.